Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kirill, your Justice analyst, and today it's a very special edition dedicated to Eurovision in concert. As you know, I have already recorded the analysis video about all Eurovision 2025 entries, and so now it's time to talk about their, for some of them, first live performance of their entries, which very traditionally happens in Amsterdam, in the last years in Apas Arena, which I think can house around 5,000 people, where even the Junior Eurovision took place around 10 years ago, and this year 30 out of 37 confirmed acts were registered to take part in the competition, and luckily all of them came, because I believe last year one or two singers also got sick and couldn't really take part in the end. Unfortunately, participants from Germany were not performing their song live because Tina is suffering from sort of throat injury already since quite a long time, and let's just keep the fingers crossed that by the time Eurovision comes they will not need to use any kind of playbacks, because in Eurovision this is of course not allowed, but that she will impress us with a stunning vocal performance. But today let's take a look at 10 countries which surprised us positively and kind of increased their chances to qualify or maybe even to win the competition, and then let's take a look at 5 countries where, well, the bar of expectations was set maybe a bit too high. And let's start with our first disappointment. Even though the selection of Luxembourg has happened around 2 months ago and the singer of course had time to polish it vocally, I was really hoping that by the time this kind of pre-parties will start she will sound perfect. Unfortunately, she was very often out of breath. When it comes to the notes, I think she was really hitting them, so I haven't really seen any problem there, but just generally when the singer is so much out of breath, maybe you should just change the performance concept, that she's more standing still and just focuses on singing, just let the dancers do the dancing routine, tell us the story of this puppet. But like this, I'm afraid that it will not appeal to the televoters so much, and Luxembourg may really struggle to qualify this year. Now let's move to the first positive surprise, and it's Adonis from Czechia. I think his low, deep tones are just so beautiful. It's like some velour quality, just excellent. His control of the voice, the way he plays with it throughout the song is just magnificent. I can't really find anything what I didn't like about this performance. You can clearly see that he has a specific artistic vision, just even based on his looks, and I think many tones were sounding even better than in the studio track. Of course, the dance break is something quite controversial about the song, but I think in the whole live performance just seeing how much Adonis is moving on stage, so how actively he's performing the song, this dance break kind of fits, it kind of makes sense. I think it really decorates the song, adds some additional element to it. His head voice afterwards was also on point. The next positive surprise came from JJ and from Austria. So we were of course all a little bit worried that maybe it will not really come up together so well on stage and that his vocals might be not as excellent as in the pre-recorded track, but actually he did really well. I also have seen that he was struggling a bit with one of his ear monitors during the live performance, so he couldn't hear himself properly, but in any case I think he sounded absolutely excellent. Maybe right in the beginning there were a couple of tones which were a little bit out of tune, but afterwards it was just fantastic. I think his head voice and his falsetto are just out of this world, and it's really rare to see such a tiny singer with such a voice. Interestingly, he was performing a sort of extended version where the dance break in the end is much longer than in the official version. I think it looked a little bit empty, but in any case on the live stage in Basel he will have just maybe only this 15 to 20 seconds, and I'm pretty sure they will look very impactful. So with the right staging, based on these vocals, I can clearly say this is our winner. Talking about the disappointments, I have to mention San Marino. Now we got a third singer, so now Gabri Ponta is the third guy singing on stage. During his last performance in San Marino Song Contest there were just 2 of them, but we also had 2 dancers and also 1 guy playing some instrument. I'm not really sure anymore what was that exactly, but in this case, while seeing these 3 singers standing on stage with the masks, singing in sort of very robotic way, I think it really lacked some soul. So the song is of course a banger which became a hit already in many European countries, but with this live performance I'm really struggling at this point of time to see San Marino qualifying to the final. They really need to bring some very interesting staging which will drag attention from Gabri Ponta, who's just a bit of lip syncing and jumping around this DJ set from time to time. So unfortunately what we saw now in Amsterdam is just not enough to qualify. And now our next positive surprise, and this is the band Remember Monday from the United Kingdom. Their energy is just so radiating, their harmonies, their voices together sound absolutely perfect. The song really with this live performance gave me a bit of Sam Ryder vibes, who also had this kind of a bit 80s or beginning of 90s inspired song with this sort of rock feel in it. This is kind of the same what Remember Monday are bringing to us. I think the hook in the chorus of their song is one of the most memorable ones, and based on what I have heard and seen, this definitely screams jury top 10 in the final. How the televoters will really react to this really depends on their live staging, on their running order, so at this point in time it's very hard to predict. I was slightly worried in advance, but actually his vocal sounded really good. I was hoping maybe he will move a bit more on stage, interact a bit more with the crowd, but well, you know, on Eurovision stage it's not that important. But then his vocal towards the end in the very last chorus was just so good. This "Do Tonight" note which he was doing in the second chorus was just brilliant, and then his vocalized right at the end of the song was very impressive. So now I'm at least getting some hope that Azerbaijan can make it into the final. So the third country which has unfortunately disappointed is Slovenia. Klemen is such an experienced performer. I think he can do so well all this kind of fun entries. He proved it so many times with guest performances in the EMA in Slovenia, but this kind of a ballad is, I think, just a wrong song for him. Unfortunately, he has missed a couple of notes, for example in the beginning of second chorus when he is singing How Much Time. This time was completely out of tune, and also his head voice in the very first chorus was very weak, and you know, with this kind of weak song, which we all know is not really ranked so well by the bookmakers or by the Eurovision fans, I think by this Slovenia is kinda cementing for itself the place in the semi-finals this year. And again, let's go to the best in class, so to the ones who have really impressed us with their live performances. And I just can't miss Justyna Steczkowska, who was just such a queen of this night. The way how she entered the stage and was already singing a cappella, Gaia with the whole audience, it was already absolutely crazy. And then the whole performance, she was just so brilliant. I just can't believe that she is the oldest contestant of all of those whom we have in the competition, and she's just fierce, and her voice is definitely one of the best. Well, small but still a pleasant surprise came from Norway to me. If you remember, in the Norsk Melody Grand Prix, every artist was able to use autotune. I was not really sure how much autotune Kyle Alessandro was using or was needing, so I was really curious how he will sound without this kind of special effects on stage. And I have to say he sounded absolutely perfect, absolutely brilliant performance. He's such a charismatic singer, and I still don't understand why bookmakers are underestimating him so much. I think he's still even like on place 27 or 28 in accordance with the bookmakers. I think it's a very safe top 20 entry, and maybe he will be even very close to top 10. I wouldn't really call it a very big disappointment. I think Claude was good, don't get me wrong, but still in general the bar of expectations towards the host entry of Eurovision in Concert is always very high, and this year I have to say Claude was really still a bit nervous. He's not such an experienced performer, and unfortunately it really came through. He missed a couple of tones, it was nothing, you know, groundbreaking or too significant, but in this song his voice is very much in focus, and I just really hope that for the Eurovision Song Contest he will polish it all, and that the Dutch delegation has some very interesting and cool performance right down their sleeve. I definitely wanted to mention this performance. Till the very last moment I wasn't sure if it should go to the biggest surprises or to the disappointments, because I think it had a mix of both. On one hand, starting with the bad things, I think his vocal was really very shaky at many points of time. He was kinda out of breath. Some of the high tones, for example the ones where he sings the word man kinda in the end of the chorus, were not really always there. But then if we talk about the positives, which I think in this case are kinda outlifting the negatives, his energy on stage is just so radiating. He's such a great performer. The way he was jumping from one side of the stage to another side of the stage, the way how he was dressed, the way how he was interacting with the crowd, it was just amazing, and this is exactly what the song needs. You also could see some kind of colorful background which he had, so it kind of gives us an indication that they will also go for very colorful staging for the Eurovision Song Contest in Basel, so I'm quite optimistic about Australia. Just maybe with the vocals he should ensure that he's not out of breath. This one was of course not a huge surprise. We have heard the song, we know that Red Sebastian can sing good live, but I have to say, when I was watching his performance from EUROVISION in Belgium, there were some lower tones, also like endings in the verses which he was not really singing properly, so they were kind of swallowed. Also the tones were not always right there, but now this live performance was absolutely brilliant. His falsetto notes with the head voice were just so stable, so perfect. This is really unbelievable how well he can sing, but now even in the verses he sounded absolutely perfect and on point, so now I don't really see what else they can improve even on the stage. The last small disappointment, which unfortunately I have to mention, is Like a Party from Ireland. I still think that they should definitely change their visual for the stage completely. They should not repeat what they did in Eurosong, because this will not be enough to qualify. Also, Emmy's vocals, I was really hoping she will get a bit more confidence in her voice, but it still sounds very shaky, quite unstable at some points of time. So now I'm really losing more and more the faith in the fact that Ireland can qualify, because they really need to work a lot on their entry still. So one of our two last positive surprises is Armenia. I think Parg has definitely proven with this performance that his live vocals are great, because you all remember that performance from Depi Evertesil, where, yeah, it was kind of questionable, it was unclear if it's all because of horrible acoustics and sound quality in the selection, or maybe his voice just doesn't sound so good, but now he smashed the stage. I think the crowd has also really loved his performance, and I'm really seeing Armenia qualifying this year. And the last positive surprise I have for you was from Serbia. I think Prince delivered an excellent vocal performance, but kinda as usually, but now we have for the first time heard him singing live this new revamped version of the song, and I have to say the addition of this multiple a cappella parts where his voice is really shining through, the addition of the backing vocal, just much stronger instrumental kinda towards the end in the last chorus, it all just makes the song so much more beautiful. It sounds somehow also so much more Balkan now. And also in the last chorus, he was really playing with his voice so beautifully, holding some notes very long. So now, for me, it's a very, very safe qualifier. So maybe before I wrap up this video, let's just quickly talk about the others. So Montenegro and Georgia have really impressed with their live vocals, even though we kinda knew that both of these ladies can sing very, very good. But unfortunately, the songs are just a bit too boring and too weak for the Eurovision Song Contest, so even with this amazing vocals, I don't really see them qualifying. Lithuania, Albania, Estonia, Finland, Ukraine, Malta, about all of them I can just say we saw already them performing live, and what they delivered now was definitely by no means worse than what we have seen in the past, but there was just no big surprise element. For me personally, for example, the Danish singer Sissal is like the best vocalist of the year. I also really loved the live performance of Melody. France was just so touching, Albania was perfect again, but those I just can't add to you as big surprises or disappointments, because they kinda just met the expectations. So that's what I have thought about the live performances at Eurovision Concert 2025. So now we have kind of seen almost all singers performing their songs live at their national selections or at some other pre-parties. The big mysteries are still the singer from Israel, Yuval Raphael, and also Theo even from Cyprus. So I really hope they will deliver amazing live performances as well. And definitely let me know down below in the comments who was the biggest highlight for you, who was the biggest disappointment for you. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and tune in for the next one. Bye!